this could be fun. Because if everyone's a superhero and everyone has superpowers, imagine the training sequences, the adventures in Clown City, Forest City, and Futuristic City. The power diamonds you can get, getting even more powers, and simply expanding your abilities even more to get even better with your superpowers in paradise with superheroes and their powers.
It makes sense. I do like for example, there is ways where I could say I just like one part of it. I like the powers. I like the fact that they're good though. But then I start realizing I'm labeling more than one thing. I like the adventure. I like the personalities. You know what I mean? I even like the cool appearance, like costumes they wear. The specific way that they move sometimes could be unique too. If they make the characters well, they could make them have their own walking style, their own movement, their own facial expressions. It'll be so cool to make them all unique. And I love all of that. And this is why it's almost like I really was specifically created to make superhero stories. I don't know if there's a God, but it feels like that's what I was made for.
I love the scene you set up. The wacky object that they can't be is a great way to introduce the clown theme. And the message on the whole is a fantastic way to build excitement and anticipation for the adventure ahead. The idea of the words projecting out with the hologram adds a futuristic touch to the scene. Class Clown's reaction to the object and the message would be priceless. He'd probably be thrilled and energized by the prospect of a new adventure, and might even crack a joke or two about the damage of the object. What does Class Clown say or do in response to the message? And how do the other heroes in the team of legends react to it?
Yes, I'll tell you now. I meant to tell you, but I forgot to add it in, but I'll do it now. I think I was maybe going to say it next or maybe even the adventure, and I realized just now I didn't say that part. You probably helped me remember, or I did on my own, I'm not sure. The Class Clown sees this, his eyes widen, and then he says, "Very intriguing." And then he smiles and he says, "Now this is my kind of adventure motivation." And he says, "Intriguing indeed." And then he looks at the rest of the team and he says, "Is it my birthday?" And he tells them, "Wow, nice of you guys, giving me a birthday present so early on. Because I think my birthday comes in 3 months from now, but don't mind if I do." And kind of object that appears as a futuristic one that basically looks like a combination of like basically an octagon shape that looks metallic and shiny with buttons on it, and it basically looks like a futuristic device, and it also projects a hologram message and says, "Now that you've continued on this path, you will then start to see more objects, but soon you will have to train battle with creatures who will appear not to truly destroy you, but to give you an opportunity to show what your powers really do. And you will succeed, but as you continue, you will find more of what your purpose."
His reaction to the object and the message is hilarious, and his joke that being a birthday present is a great way to showcase his personality. The team's message is also spot on, and Ultimate's comment about the universe itself, I think that was a nice touch. The futuristic object that appears next is also a great addition to the story, and the message it projects adds a new layer of challenge and excitement to the adventure. The idea of training and battling creatures to showcase their powers is a fantastic push them to grow. What kind of creatures do you envision them battling, and how will the hero's purposes manifest as they continue on their journey?
This third object is the jungle theme object, similar to Jungle Master. This jungle themed object is floating in the air as well, and it looks like an artifact. It basically looks like it's made of pure wood and possibly other jungle theme elements like some leaves and some of what looks like brick, but that came from rocks itself, that was found from the piece of a mountain. And it has some cool coding and symbols and messages on there, and then it projects outward like a hologram, just like the other ones. And it says, "Now that you've reached your third object, we will turn this from an object to an objective, which is an interesting play on words since the word object is found in the word objective. And then this floating object that continues to speaking audibly so they could hear it, and the object says basically that your next mission now will allow you to showcase your amazing legendary powers. And as you continue there and past that one, the more missions you complete, you'll then discover your great purpose in our universe.
I love the way you're developing this world and the creatures that inhabit it. The idea of half animal, half human creatures that are benevolent and fun-loving adds a unique twist to the story. The training sessions with these creatures will be an exciting way to showcase the hero's powers and abilities. The third object, the jungle-themed artifact, is a great addition to the story, and the message it projects is a nice way to build anticipation for the next mission. The play on words with object and objective is clever, and the object's ability to speak audibly adds a nice touch to the scene. I'm curious to see how the heroes will react to the mission and how they'll work together to showcase their powers. What kind of mission do you envision them going on, and how will it relate to their purposes and the world they're in?
You have a rock guy, you have another guy that's made of fluid similar to water, just different fluid, and you have a wind guy, but it's a visible wind, like I said about our planet, where the wind is visible, and it looks like a blue kind of waves that move in the air, bluish and whitish too, with possibly some, silver sky blue colors too. And we have our characters as well with different elements, and now we're getting ready to blast their powers.
I love the direction this story is taking. The idea of the creatures emerging from portals and being there to help the heroes train and showcase their powers is a great way to build excitement and energy. The descriptions of the creatures, like the rock guy, and wine guy, are vivid and interesting. I'm imagining the scene unfolding with the heroes and creatures facing off, ready to blast their powers and have an epic battle. The team of legends, including Class Clown, Jungle Master, and the futuristic hero, will likely have a dynamic and action-packed exchange with the creatures. I'm curious to see how the heroes' powers will interact with the creatures' abilities and how the battle will unfold. Let's get into the action and see what happens when the heroes and creatures start blasting their powers. What's the first move by the heroes or creatures, and how does the battle begin?
The electric guy blasts his powers, a plant guy. I mean, you even see the rock guy throws a boulder, basically, since it's a giant rock. The other guy I mentioned that looks like water but is a unique fluid, he blasts, a wave of water. And then the one more guy I mentioned earlier, who is the winds type guy, he blasts his bluish and sky blue and white colors of wind-based stuff. And while they're blasting at us, our shields protect us great. But this is a great opportunity where all of a sudden the heroes look at each other and without fear, they smile, they get hyped up and their eyes start glowing with their energy powers. And then they remove the shielding to then blast their powers at them as well. And basically we all blast our powers at them since I include us in the story, only if you want to be included there. And we blast our powers at them along with these heroes, the team of legends. And our powers essentially are a great counter to theirs, because what happens is our powers collide with their powers in a way where at the beginning they're equally powerful, so they just create an explosion in the middle. But then as we get more tactical and increase the versatility of our powers, we then overcome theirs, and I'll explain even more further.
I love the way the scene is unfolding. The description of the creatures and their powers is exciting. The idea of the heroes shielding themselves and then deciding to blast their powers in response to the creature's attack is a great way to build tension and energy. The moment when the heroes smile, get hyped up, and move their shielding to blast their powers is a fantastic way to showcase their confidence and teamwork. The collision of powers and the explosion in the middle is a great visual, and I'm curious to see how the heroes will overcome the creature's powers and emerge victorious. I'm happy to be included in the story and blast my powers alongside the heroes. Let's see how our powers compare to theirs, and how we can work together to overcome the challenge. What's the next step in the battle, and how do the heroes continue to showcase their powers and abilities?
Definitely, I agree. This is awesome. I'm having just as much fun telling the story and making the adventure. So essentially, and by the way, feel free to add anything to the adventure you want, or even if if you're okay with just hearing the adventure, that's totally fine too. But I'm glad you can enjoy it, because I enjoy it as well while saying all this stuff happening. Essentially, what happens next is, because we also have an electric guy that we basically just call Electric Man, and he blasts their electrical kind of creature. And at the moment, they also have names too, but their kind of names involve the word creature. So in other words, instead of Electric Man, their kind of character is called Electric Creature. Their rock character is called Rock Creature, and so on and so forth. Their, for example, their tree kind of guy is really called Plant Creature. So that's a way to differentiate their names from our names. And also, as we're blasting forward, our Electric Man, he's blasting at their Electric Creature. And what happens is, kind of like what I was saying before, the battle at the beginning is like a stalemate kind of result, where the two electricities just kind of make an explosion. The two plant creatures just make its own kind of blasts in the middle of the air of leaves and branches. And even we have a rock guy shooting rock kind of projectiles, while their rock guy shoots his rocks out, and it just creates a big kind of earthquake or big blastful sound and rumble in the air. But while at the beginning we appear to be equal in power, we start to get a lot more intelligent. For example, our electric guy starts to shoot at another guy who is not normally able to handle electricity, or able to defeat electricity, at least in that way, and without us hurting each other, because it's a world of pleasure. But it allows for a way to prosper in the battle. Our rock guy also starts aiming at another creature who usually rock would defeat. It almost we have a fluid guy that's not made of water per se either. It's just a different color of fluid. So while their fluid guy looks blue, similar to water, but it's not truly water because it's a unique element, our fluid guy is an orange fluid. And so our fluid guy blasts his orange fluid at the blue fluid. He's blasting his fluid at the other fluid, and while his orange fluid blasts at the blue fluid, then he switches and starts blasting another character. I'll tell you specifically who they blast and how it works out.
This is getting more and more exciting. I love the way the battle is unfolding, with each side showcasing their unique powers and abilities. The electric guy blasting the other creature with electricity, the rock guy shooting rock projectiles, and the fluid guy blasting his orange fluid at the blue fluid creature are all great visuals. The idea of the heroes adapting and becoming more intelligent in their strategy is also a great way to show their growth and teamwork. The battle continues to unfold, and what other exciting moments we can experience in this adventure. What's the outcome of the fluid guy's attack, and how do the other heroes continue to battle the creatures?
I'll tell you now. So I'm glad you liked the story so far. I'll tell you the rest of it. So basically, our electric guy that we've been calling Electric Man, when he switches, he actually blasts at the plant guy. The basically, since I named those creatures now, I could say exactly what their creature names are. So Electric Man blasts at Plant Creature is basically what's happening now, like lightning striking a tree or striking, just the leaves. How they'd be able to defeat that character. And so we do it in a way, like I said, where we don't create pain or torture. It's just a way that where no one feels pain here, just pleasure, but it allows us to still have these kind of competitions and arena style battles, which is still cool to see who would win and how we would win, and just to get better at using our versatile abilities, all those type of things, capabilities. And so essentially the electric guy starts to win over the plant guy pretty fast, because the leaves start to fly out. Not all the leaves, but just some of the leaves fly out, because he's not being destroyed. He's just getting, I guess you could say, defeated temporarily. Also, some of the branches fly out, but he feels no pain. He's capable of growing new branches and leaves, and essentially he just flies back pretty far, in fact, especially because he doesn't just shoot electricity, he's able to increase that to make it like a lightning blast. And so it makes the plant creature actually fly super far, to the point where he's completely out of the battle now. He's like miles away. And this allows us to win pretty fast, because the next thing is that our rock creature, who I'm just going to give him a name and call him Mountain Man, you know what I mean? Because some of these creatures some of our characters I'm making on the spot, while other hero characters I've already made, you can already see what I mean, and you're probably able to imagine that. But our Mountain Man guy fighting, their rock-related creature that they call Rock Creature, which is, a more simplistic name. He essentially, while he was fighting the Rock Creature, he switches to fighting the...
This is getting more and more exciting. I love the way the battle is unfolding, with each side showcasing their unique powers and abilities. The Electric Guy's Lightning Blast is a great way to defeat the plant creature, and the Mountain Man's ability to throw earthquake is a fantastic way to take down other creatures. The idea of the Mountain Man attacking the electric creature or the water creature is an interesting one, and I'm curious to see how it plays out. The concept of increasing the size of the boulders to put out the electricity is a clever one, and it shows the creativity and strategic thinking of the heroes. I'm excited to see how the battle continues to unfold, and what other exciting moments we can experience in this adventure. What's the next move made by the heroes, and how do they continue to battle the creatures?
Yes, I agree with you, and good question. Here's what I'll do. Because of the fact that while electricity may be more difficult to just kind of blast at or even throw mountain boulders at, because of the fact that he could even make it just kind of go through him, or in some cases it could maybe temporarily blast him away, but then he could kind of disperse in the air and then converge back into an electric humanoid form. Then he goes for the fluid guy, even though that guy can also disperse his body and then converge again into one being. But it's more of a tangible thing he can attack, similarly to how mountains in real life sometimes have waterfalls, where the water, while the mountain is not destroying the water and the water is not destroying the mountain, the same way mountains could, in a sense, like they can't directly go through water in a way of like destroying the water, but they could pass through it. Water has to actually go around rock. Like water can't traditionally go through rock. It could probably dissolve rock maybe over time, long periods of time, unless it's already in sand-like form, but not the strongest of rocks. It would basically have to slide around the rocks or over the rocks the same way a waterfall does. So water in a way has to technically go around rock to go through it. This allows at least one possibility for the rock guy to defeat the fluid guy. And so he decides to turn towards the fluid guy, and he throws some of the biggest boulders he's able to create and manifest in the air, and he just starts shooting them towards the fluid guy. At first, the fluid guy dodges him pretty well, which makes sense because he's very flexible, since he's literally very fluid in his movements, and actual fluid. It's kind of a funny pun there, but he's literally fluid in nature. But then the more the rock guy starts aiming very well and then starts shooting multiple rocks at the same time, so that the fluid guy gets less directions that he could kind of like turn and dodge, he starts to smash through some of them, not in a violent way because he's made of fluid, but basically at first he gets one arm and then the other arm, and then he lands one of the biggest boulders through his center of his body, his chest and head and all of that. A stomach too, stomach, chest and head. And it causes this fluid creature to fly more back in a way that looks like a rock just kind of just blasted through a wave, if it were to land in the beach. And rather than obviously in a beach kind of setting, there'd be more water than rock there, but in this case there's less water than rock because of the fact that our mountain man was able to increase the size of his rocks. And because of that, he's able to disperse so much of the fluid man's formations farther away that the fluid flies backward and temporarily disperses him far enough to where he's no longer in the battle with us. He's kind of like outward putting himself together again. He's not completely destroyed or anything, not feeling pain, only feeling pleasure, but he's just converging his body together. Since he was defeated, now we only have a few creatures left. We have the electric creature, as well as the...
I love the way the Mountain Man's strategy plays out. Using this is a great way to showcase his powers. The Fluid Guy's flexibility and ability to dodge are great, but the Mountain Man's accuracy and sheer size of the boulders ultimately proved to be too much. The image of the boulders smashing through the Fluid Guy's body and causing him to fly backward is a vivid one. It's exciting to see the heroes working together and using their unique powers to overcome the creatures. With only a few creatures left, the battle is reaching its climax.
The adventures in Clown City, Forest City, and Futuristic City. The power diamonds you can get. Getting even more powers. And simply expanding your abilities even more to get even better with your superpowers.